Hello everyone and welcome to the Tuning Village tournament. I don't have anything else to say, so let's get into it. 24 competitors, but only one can win. 5 rounds on 5 different circuits, each presenting a distinct challenge. For the first round, we will race at Autumn the Ring Reverse in sports hard tires, and basically, whoever finishes last in each race is eliminated. Anyways, let the tournament begin. So, for the first race, we have Obiso, Martis, Serial Killer, Stunt Track Driver, Thunderstorm Gaming, and What is Love. And off they go, may the best one win. To be honest, I'm not really that good at commentating races, but oh well. What is Love overtakes Thunderstorm Gaming and tries to catch back up to the others. And same goes for HW Stunt Track Driver. Looking at the front of the grid, whoa, Serial Killer almost lost control there. And while Martis and Obiso are chilling on the podium, Thunderstorm Gaming is struggling to catch back up to the others. And Serial Killer is stuck behind Martis because he keeps cock-blocking him. Stunt Track Driver tries to overtake, but Serial Killer doesn't let him. And into the uphill they go. And on the uphill, Serial Killer tries to overtake but can't because Martis is cock-blocking him, and Martis can't overtake because Obiso's cock-blocking him. On the next corner, however, Martis goes too far on the inside, allowing Serial Killer to overtake. And now switches his focus to overtaking Obiso and taking the first place, while Stunt Track Driver and What is Love are still stuck behind Martis. All of this is happening while Thunderstorm Gaming is struggling to catch back up to the others. And despite having the fastest car, What is Love is stuck in 5th place. Meanwhile, Stunt Track Driver finally manages to overtake Martis. And What is Love also tries to overtake Martis, but fails horribly at it, as Martis pushes him out of the way and takes back his 4th place. So far, Thunderstorm Gaming is in the elimination position, but let's see if that changes on the second lap. Serial Killer's just chilling in 1st place, and I see Stunt Track Driver manage to overtake Obiso, who at the moment is cock-blocking like usual, preventing Martis and What is Love from taking the podium. Meanwhile, poor Thunderstorm Gaming is getting left in the dust. In the front, Stunt Track Driver is still struggling to catch up to Serial Killer, who at the moment is just chilling in 1st place. So far, this has been a very intense battle between Serial Killer and Stunt Track Driver. And into the uphill section they go again. Here we go past this corner and oh! Serial Killer goes off track, but he's not gonna let that stop him from getting 1st place. Meanwhile in the back, Martis and What is Love are still stuck behind Obiso. And as for Thunderstorm Gaming, I can't even see him, that's how far behind he is. Anyways, after everything that happened, What is Love finally manages to overtake Obiso and takes the podium spot for himself, leaving Obiso and Martis to battle for 4th place, which was also a pretty cool fight if you ask me. And as for Thunderstorm Gaming, yeah, let's be honest, I think we all knew that he was gonna be eliminated in this race. Meanwhile in the front, I think Serial Killer had an AI fail moment, which allowed Stunt Track Driver to take 1st place. Either way, Stunt Track Driver advances to the next round, along with Serial Killer, What is Love, and these two taking the final safe spots. And just like that, Thunderstorm Gaming is eliminated, quite unsurprisingly. For the second race, we have Fancy Wreck, Ferrari, I Like Cars, Mad Jester, Apollo, and Night Drive, which is a recipe for an entertaining race if you ask me. Anyways, I just noticed this, but poor Apollo got overtaken before the race even started, which I don't blame Apollo, given how stupid the GT4 AI can sometimes be. Anyways, Apollo, along with Night Drive, are struggling to catch back up to the other 4 racers in the front. What even is happening in the front anyways? I guess I have to take a look to find out. Apparently, Mad Jester, despite having the fastest car, is struggling to overtake I Like Cars, and I Like Cars is struggling to overtake Ferrari, who's struggling to catch up to Fancy Wreck, who's just chilling in first place. What can I say? Currently, there's nothing much happening in this race as of right now, other than Night Drive and Apollo battling for the final safe spot. Speaking of which, Night Drive is currently winning the battle against Apollo, who's struggling to catch back up to Night Drive, who's struggling to catch up to the other 4 racers. I guess that's the punishment of literally starting the race in last place. Anyways, in the front, I see Mad Jester managed to overtake I Like Cars and now is trying to overtake Ferrari, which I'm pretty sure Ferrari Celica won't let that happen so easily. Meanwhile, Fancy Wreck is just chilling with an easy victory. But who knows, maybe things will change on the second lap. And there's also a pretty cool fight between Ferrari, Mad Jester, and I Like Cars. Meanwhile, in the back, Apollo is still losing against Night Drive in the battle for the final safe spot. And Night Drive is slowly, but steadily, catching up to I Like Cars. The second lap has just begun, and there's already a lot more happening than on the first lap. What can I say? When there's a 2-lap race in a tournament, the second lap is usually the more intense one. Anyways, in the middle of everything, we have Ferrari and I Like Cars, both of which are competing for a spot on the podium. And in the front of the grid, we have a battle for first place between Fancy Wreck and Mad Jester, which you can't currently see on the screen. But given that Mad Jester easily overtook Ferrari and I Like Cars, I think the same is true for Fancy Wreck. Anyways, in the back, even if Apollo's DeLorean is not gonna make it, at least it didn't give up instantly like Thunderstorm Gaming's Civic. As for Night Drive, I'm not sure if he's gonna catch up to I Like Cars in time, who at the moment is battling against Ferrari Celica for 3rd place, which Ferrari isn't willing to give up easily, as he goes through the final sets of corners ready to take the podium. But the Celica's Gordo steer said otherwise, causing Ferrari to go off track, crash, and allow I Like Cars to take the podium, and also allowing Night Drive, who's been in the back of the grid for the whole race, to catch up. So I guess the S2000s take the podium, with Mad Jester in 1st, Fancy Wreck in 2nd, I Like Cars in 3rd, Ferrari in 4th, and Night Drive in 5th. And Apollo is eliminated, even though it really wasn't his fault, but rather the AI's fault for screwing him over. For the 3rd race, we have Luca, Terra Hawkizard, Pin, me, Slaughter, and Martso. Hopefully this race's elimination is much more intense than the other 2. But given that I appear in this race, it should make things a little more interesting. For this race, I'm mostly gonna focus on me, Martso, and Slaughter, given that the other 3 already have a guaranteed victory. Anyways, looks like I'm starting off strong with my Spoon Fit, which is actually putting up a fight over here, and a really intense one if you ask me. Seriously, I really thought I was gonna be overtaken by now, but I guess I do have a slim chance of making it out alive. In the front, Luca, Pin, and Terra already have a guaranteed podium, while me and these 2 in the back are having a 3-way battle for elimination. And it's a really intense one, like I said earlier. Anyways, I'm seeing that Martso is struggling to catch up to me and Slaughter, leaving him in the elimination position. And then on the next corner, my Spoon Fit forgets to cockblock Slaughter, which allows him to overtake me. What are you doing, Spoon Fit? Now my chances of making it out are even slimmer. And with Slaughter's overtake, I guess it's down to me and Martso to battle for the final safe spot. Unless Slaughter does an AI fail moment, of course. At this moment, all Martso can really do is hope that the AI doesn't screw him over. And all I can do is cockblock Martso and hope for the best. All of this is happening while Terra Hawkizard, Pin, and Luca have already zoomed off into the distance. Anyways, currently in last place is Martso, but maybe things will change on the second lap, who knows. Anyways, now that he is on the speed section, Martso's gonna go all out to try to overtake me, which he fails to do as I managed to cock block him out of trying to do so. And the battle for the final safe spot is only gonna intensify as we make our way into the spiral section of the track. Martso tried to overtake me on this corner but failed, and that fact alone allowed me to gain some time over Martso as we make it into the spiral. He tries to use the cornering strategy on the spiral to try to overtake me, but that still isn't enough. It also doesn't help Martso's case that the SS Trueno sucks at cornering in this game. On the uphill section, however, my spoon fit didn't go far enough on the inside, which allowed Martso to overtake me. But the race is not over yet. Remember, Martso still needs to make it to the finish line first in order to be safe, while Slaughter and Terra Hawkizard are just chilling in the middle of everything. And in the front, Luca and Pin easily make it into the next round, with Luca in first, Pin in second, and Terra Hawkizard easily taking third place. Meanwhile, in the back of the grid, I think Slaughter had an AI fail moment, which allowed Martso to catch up. As these two make it through the final sets of corners, it's all or nothing for my spoon fit. But despite its best attempts, my spoon fit is just not fast enough, which means that Slaughter, along with Martso, take the final two safe spots and are moving on to the next round, and my dream of winning a tournament has been crushed once again. For the fourth race, we have Muka, Julie Canotto, SVT, Mavis Morte, Rosie Miranto, and D2V. Given the lineup, this should be a pretty interesting race. Anyways, right off the bat, D2V overtakes Rosie Miranto, but falls just short of overtaking Mavis Morte, who at the moment is preventing Rosie Miranto and D2V from overtaking her. And she's actually putting up a fight, and a really intense one at that. I'm actually curious if Mavis Morte makes it to the next round, unlike me. Meanwhile, in the front, SVT is struggling to overtake Julie Canotto as they both make their way into the uphill section. All of this is happening while Muka is just chilling in first place. And into the uphill section they all go. On the uphill section, D2V manages to overtake Rosie Miranto, and then tries to overtake Mavis Morte but can't because she's preventing him from doing so. On the next corner, however, Mavis Morte goes too far on the outside, which allows D2V to overtake her and take fourth place. In the front, SVT finally manages to overtake Julie Canotto and now is trying to catch up to Muka. And with D2V's overtake in the back, I guess it's now down to Mavis Morte and Rosie Miranto to battle for the final safe spot, which is a really intense battle if you ask me, as Rosie Miranto is struggling to catch up because his AI car keeps unnecessarily braking. But maybe things will change on the second lap, we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of which, Muka and SVT are having a very intense battle for first place, as Julie Canotto is struggling to keep up with them, and D2V's just chilling in fourth place. As for Mavis Morte and Rosie Miranto, yeah, they're still battling against each other. Both of them make it through this corner into the downhill section and... oh, Mavis Morte is going off the track, but doesn't let Rosie Miranto overtake her. And the battle only intensifies as both of them make their way into the downhill section. Meanwhile, in the front, Muka and SVT are still battling. SVT goes too wide while trying to overtake Muka and goes off the track as a result, causing him to lose a lot of time. Meanwhile, Julie Canotto and D2V are just chilling in the middle of everything. Anyways, in the back, Rosie Miranto tries to overtake and almost goes too wide as a result. Then he goes too fast on this corner, almost causing him to go off the track. But he's not gonna let that stop him though. He goes through this corner onto the mini straight, and well, it's official. After many failed attempts, Rosie Miranto finally manages to successfully catch up to Mavis Morte, and then he successfully overtakes her on the next corner, taking the spot into the next round for himself. Meanwhile in the front, SVT manages to pull a last-second overtake on Muka, with Julie Canotto easily taking third and D2V taking fourth. It was a very intense battle between these two, but after everything, Rosie Miranto is the last one safe. Well played, Mavis Morte. And that's about it for round 1. If you enjoyed, which I know you did, like the video, and maybe even consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in round 2.